Hello there. I hope you're doing great, having a beautiful Wednesday morning, or I suppose Wednesday evening, Wednesday afternoon, depending on where in the world you are. I see we've got some people I recognize here already. Diane, good to see you. Juliana, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Dragon Gamer Kid, hope you're doing well. Barakis, good to see you. Save me a place in the village. Well, you can save yourself a place, and we're going to talk about how to make that happen today. So keen on to hear about the village plans, but the chat is too early in the morning here in Germany. No, it's not early in the morning in Germany. It's, what is it now? It's about 6 p.m. in Germany right now. So if you're in Germany, you might have seen me post something and might not have been clear, but hopefully you're here now. I'm not sure when you made your comment, but let me know if you're still here now. I see we have about 17 of you currently. There'll be more coming. Hello, Dan. How you doing? How's life in Tel Aviv? I hope you're well. Hello, Jen. It has been a long time. I haven't seen you in about 2 minutes in person. Jen is here fasting with me right now for the third time. Shmuel, good to see you. Are you in Israel as well? Sounds like a Israeli name. Sergio, good to see you. Isn't this 9 p.m.? No, I'm sorry. I don't know if I somehow made a mistake somewhere. What I posted, I'm pretty sure I said I would be going live at 10 a.m. Costa Rica time on Wednesday. That's right now. Here we are, 10 a.m. Costa Rica time. That's right. Okay. Chris, good to see you. Where are you? Let's see. Have I seen everybody? Diane, did I say hello to you? You're in New York, I know. So let's give everyone just a few more minutes. Feel free to share where you are if you haven't already, and if I haven't already said it. You're in Oklahoma. Okay, Chris. Oklahoma City, Tulsa. Let's see where else. I've been to one more city. What is it? Oh, you know what? It was a small town, Norman. I had an employee who actually built my first several websites, and she went to school in Norman and wound up moving back there. And so I went and stayed because she organized a lecture tour for me in Oklahoma and Texas. I actually started by flying into Norman and speaking there, and then going from there to the other cities. Okay, so Juliana's here from Romania. Shmuel, your videos have been very helpful. I'm really glad to hear that. Thank you so much for saying so. Peter, good to see you. Hello, everyone from Peter. Peter is here with us from France. Sergio is in San Jose, California. Great. Okay. So glad to see you all. There may be others joining us in just a few moments. We'll give them maybe just a few minutes more to see who else shows up. I'm excited about the project. Hero Afonso, I'm sorry, is Tanglewood Las Cascadas now? No, I'm not sure I understand your question, Hero. Tanglewood is Tanglewood, and Las Cascadas is down the road, not maybe 2 kilometers from here, just down the road. So not far away, but it's not the same property. We are hoping to connect the properties. We have, that's okay, Hero. We have, we're currently sitting on 15 hectares here, which lead up to a road. So we're on one road here. There's another road that goes this way. There's another property, some other properties, a little village here in the corner, but we're over here and we're over here as well. And if we cross that road, there's a big farm there. We have been talking to the owners about eventually buying that when they're ready to sell. And that will allow us, if we can buy that next farm, we'll actually be able to create a path, a trail that goes from here all the way to the other project. But right now, it's a drive. It's a short drive. Jose is here from Santa Cruz, California. Jose, Santa Cruz is a beautiful town. I spoke there, I guess, about 4 years ago now, was the last time I was there. But I've been to Santa Cruz various times, and it's a beautiful place. In fact, I was there once after that. I had done an event down on the other side of the bay. Stephanie Polichet is here. Good morning, Loren. Looking forward to hearing about how Las Cascadas is going. Great. So, and Stephanie, I hope it's okay to say Stephanie is already a community member. She has already committed to her involvement, her lot in the community. There's going to be an opportunity for many other people. Jose, we'll look forward to joining next time. Okay. Yeah. Oh, next time I'm out there. Yeah. Well, I don't know when that's going to be. Obviously, right now, planning travel to the U.S. I'm not really planning any travel to the U.S. anytime soon. I thought I would be, but it's not going to happen right now for obvious reasons. In the future, I don't know. I mean, I think as we ramp up this project, I will likely be doing more online events and a little bit less traveling and speaking. I love traveling and speaking. It's great connecting with people in person. There are many people here, some of you here, who I met in person at events and then wound up later on coming to Tanglewood or becoming friends. But it's going to be more and more difficult as time becomes more and more precious. Okay, Lane. Hey, Lane. Good to see you. How are you? I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're interested. Lane, remind me where you are. You're in the U.S. I know that. I think you're somewhere in the West, if I remember correctly, but I don't recall if you're in California or in Arizona, maybe. Remind me where you are. So maybe we'll get started. I don't want to keep everyone waiting too long. I've got, unfortunately, some time limits there. We could probably be here for hours, but I don't have hours today. I've got, we're open. We only have a few people here, about 4 people, exactly 4 people fasting right now. Looking forward to Visio Tanglewood. I'm not sure what you mean, but anyway, here we are. Okay, so let's talk about Las Cascadas. First of all, it's probably unnecessary to say this, but if you haven't already thought about the possibility of leaving the city, of leaving perhaps the U.S. or Canada or North America, Europe, Israel, that's where most of you are here from right now, I think, visiting. Okay, yeah, we'll be glad to see you whenever you're ready. Scott is here from Buckingham, Virginia. I'm not sure if I know where Buckingham is, Scott. I grew up in Maryland and know quite a bit of Virginia, but I don't remember Buckingham. Bogda Marine, do you like wax cherry? I'm not sure if I know what wax cherry is, but thanks for asking. I'll have to try that sometime. If it's a fruit, I'm certainly keen to try it, unless it smells so bad I won't get it close to my mouth. There's a few fruits like that. But anyway, so it's probably become increasingly obvious that there are problems in the world today, and that the world is becoming an increasingly unsafe place to be in terms of personal freedoms, liberty, etc. Many of you, perhaps until this, and this may be, by the way, one of the benefits of this whole pandemic. This whole thing has forced us really to think about everything in a different perspective, from a different angle than perhaps we had before. Was in Arizona, now in California, currently living in Oklahoma. In where? Oklahoma, yeah. But back to traveling a lot. Okay, love the topic. So, it's, I don't know that there's ever going to be any place on the planet where we can completely escape what's happening right now. They're talking about broadcasting 5G at the entire planet from space. I think the plan is to put 22,000 satellites in orbit that are sending, carpeting the planet with 5G. I suspect that those places where you're actually close to an antenna, which will be any city, will be much worse. Okay, and there's no question that even if we're affected by the same 5G everywhere, even if that ever happens, I don't think it's going to happen here anytime soon. But even if it did, well, and of course, in our community, it's never going to happen because we're never going to let them put towers, which have to be 100 meters apart roughly. We're never going to have those on our property, so we don't have to worry about that. But if we're being blanketed by 5G from outer space, there may be some limits to what we're able to do, and yet we're going to be far better off where we have the energy of nature, where we have trees, we have plants, we have oxygen being produced. Living in cities, we're already experiencing far less oxygen than we should have, and that's prior to putting masks on, right? Now, it's we've actually I tested some of the people here, and with a mask on fairly loosely, where it wasn't, close down around their nose and tight to their face, it didn't have very much impact on their ability to breathe. And we're actually looking at using an oximeter, measuring how much oxygen is in their blood. But I have seen tests done online where you can actually see the meter, where if that mask is tight enough, it is dramatically affecting your ability to breathe. And, and here we are in a world where increasingly you have to wear masks wherever you go. So I don't know about you. I mean, I decided a long time ago. Some of you already know this. Maybe everyone here already knows this, but I don't know who may be seeing this, I guess. I made the decision 30 years ago that I wanted to live in the tropics. I knew this where I was headed. It took a little longer to get here than I expected it to. At the beginning of July, we celebrated 15 years since we left the US, and 15 years that I've been living in nature. And of course, there's nature in the US too. I mean, wherever you live, wherever you are, you probably want to get yourself out of the city as quickly as possible. I know for some people that's difficult because that's where the work is and that's where your life is currently. But, if you really care about your health, it's important that you live in a place where there's enough oxygen, where there's less pollution, where you're not being bombarded by Wi-Fi, where maybe there's less cell phone signal, and that makes sense. There's going to be less, it's going to be weaker outside of a city. Go into a big city where there's millions of people in a small area, there's going to have to be quite a bit of signal. That's going to affect you much more. And it's interesting because I feel this, having been eating now the way I'm eating for 29 years coming up soon, eating fruit and salad, I am affected when I go to cities. I can feel the energy. I can feel how that drags on me. And I'm fine. I'm okay. But I don't like it. I mean, after one day, my body is screaming at me to get out of the city. And so what I try to do when I stay in cities is find a place on a big park, find something like that where I still have trees and oxygen and maybe a little bit less of some of that pollution. Probably in any city, it's going to be the same. I mean, the electromagnetic radiation from microwave towers and cell phone signals and all that stuff. So here we have no Wi-Fi on site. And in this community, there'll be no Wi-Fi. We're going to come to the community in just a minute. But there's no Wi-Fi here. There's almost no cell phone signal here. And my goal is to create a place where those of us who care about the planet, care about ourselves enough to take care of ourselves, maybe care about everybody else, where we can live together in harmony on the land with the smallest possible footprint, doing the least damage to the planet. And what I'm hoping is that not only can we create an amazing lifestyle for ourselves, as we've done here, myself and the volunteers and staff here, but on a much larger scale in a community. But we can also serve as a model for what's possible, because clearly what we're doing on this planet today is not working. Okay, most of you are probably aware we are in the midst of the 6th mass extinction on the planet Earth. We're losing up to 200 species every day, it's said. And there's a group of scientists who believe that at the current rate, in 40 years, there will be no wildlife left. I don't know about you, but that makes me feel very sad, because it's one thing to kill ourselves off by all the stupid things that we're doing, including 5G and vaccines and toxic food and all this other stuff. I mean, these things are not helping anyone. Yes, I understand it's convenient to have super fast internet, and that's what 5G is offering. But you need to know that this is weaponized technology, and it's harmful, very harmful to the body. And so I'm clear that, in fact, for any of you who are on Facebook, if you haven't already seen this, for the last 2.5 months, every day I've been posting a photograph from Tanglewood with a quote from some famous and sometimes not so famous person. And thank you so much, Sergio. I appreciate that. Sergio's just made a $2 donation contribution. Says, as soon as I complete my BA, I'll be at Tanglewood. So what's clear to me, I started to say, I posted something the other day about simplicity, quote about simplicity being the ultimate sophistication by Leonardo da Vinci. And the fact is, it's interesting, if you haven't traveled much, I've been very privileged to be able to travel around the world sharing this message. You know, it's been wonderful to get paid to go places, to be able to share something I'm so passionate about. If I could, I'd be there doing it for free anyway, right? That's the kind of work I enjoy, where I never feel like I'm working. And that's every day for me for the last 23 years. That's been my life now, is doing exactly what I enjoy doing anyway and getting paid for it. And so I've had the privilege to see a lot of places. I've been in 60 some countries and sharing this message. And what's interesting is that the happiest people are often the people who are living the simplest lives. These are people that don't have a lot. They're not necessarily wealthy in the common understanding of that word. I would say they're very wealthy, but they're wealthy in relationships, and they're wealthy in joy, and they're wealthy in tranquility, and they're wealthy in peace. And I don't know about you, but those things are far more valuable to me than any material wealth. And so what we're trying to do is to create a place where people can live together in harmony, support each other in maximizing our potential. Some of you have heard me say this before, and perhaps some of you haven't. I truly believe that every single person, you have genius. You are a genius in some way, in some area, okay? That every one of us has incredible untapped potential. I mentioned Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci is one of my heroes. He's one of the people I most look up to, one of the people I most admire and would like to emulate. And he was truly a Renaissance man. You know, he was an expert in various different fields, an artist, an architect, a philosopher, poet, an amazing man. He was a fruitarian, by the way. I don't know if you're aware of that. Many people aren't aware that Leonardo da Vinci, early in his life, adopted a fruit-based diet. And I believe it makes a huge difference, because most of you here already have found out for yourself that if you're eating anything besides the fruit and leafy greens, soft, tender leaves that belong in our body, it's going to negatively affect you. It's going to impact how well you feel and how well you function. Okay? And so, you know, the goal is to create a place where that's easy to do, because I know for many of you, living wherever you live, again, we've got people here from all over the world right now with us. And I know that in most of those places, the people around you are going, you know, if you're eating a truly healthy diet, you're sitting down with just fruit, they're looking at you going, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you having real food? Why is that? And you know, you're probably getting this all the time. And I know many of you, like me, couldn't care less what they think, right? I mean, what I mean by that is, I mean, you want them to care and understand, because you want them to take care of themselves. But the fact that they don't understand in no way impacts you. Many other people, and perhaps some of the people here right now, have a very difficult time making optimal choices when the people around them don't understand it. Okay, and that's often the case. I mean, the people around often don't understand. Imagine living in a place where everybody gets it, where everybody knows what real health is, because they've experienced it and they're experiencing it on an ongoing basis. I want to acknowledge two more super chats. Lane LeShock just made a $9.99 donation and said, appreciate your message and consistent grounded energy. Very nice. Thank you so much, Lee. I really appreciate that. Hero Alfonso has made a 10 Canadian dollar donation. Said, hi, Loren, I understand if you're unable to answer this in this live, what's your opinion on psilocybin mushrooms? Yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep this particular live chat to just this topic because time is limited. I want to talk about Las Cascadas today, this community. But Hero, feel free to send me a message. Okay, Loren at tanglewoodwellnesscenter.com. Just remind me of your question. I will respond to you sometime in the next 24 hours via email. Okay, that's going to work better. Okay, so thank you so much, both of you. I appreciate that very much. I appreciate each one of you for being here. I really do. I appreciate everyone here for being interested in the subject and passionate enough about yourself and the planet and justice and the environment, you know, etc. I mean, the fact is, we can create collectively anything we choose to. I truly believe that. I've experienced that. You know, years ago, when I was still in the US, I had a Canadian girlfriend who was living with me at the time, and she was talking to her mother, and she was telling her mother about all the plans I had for this community. It wasn't called Las Cascadas at the time. I didn't know where it was going to be exactly because we hadn't found the land yet, but I knew this is what I wanted to create, and this was 18 years ago. As I said, this has been percolating now for 30 years. I knew this was coming. This has always been something I've been moving toward. And she was talking to her mother and telling her about how life was going to be in this place. And her mother said to her, that's not reality. She said, you're creating your own reality. And she got off the phone and told me this. I said, well, of course we are. Why would we accept anyone else's reality when we can create our own? Okay. Right here at Tanglewood, we have a little oasis of peace and tranquility and beauty and health. The standard here is healthy choices. That's really all we have here. That's what the community will be about. Okay. And so the idea is to support each member in maximizing their potential and manifesting everything that they're capable of. And I believe when we do that, we really will be living in paradise. Because I don't know about you, I believe in heaven and hell, but not the way that our Judeo-Christian traditions teach us. Okay, I believe that we can create heaven or hell right now on this planet. I know many of you have lived through hell already. You've already been there. Okay, and I know some of you may already be living in heaven. But I believe we can co-create something that is spectacular together if we're really committed to creating that. And imagine what it's like when everybody around you is supporting you in being the best that you can be. Because that's not how it is in life. How it is in the so-called real world is people will say, oh, come on, a little bit of this won't hurt you. You don't have to be such a, right, that way. That's extreme. What you're doing is too extreme, right? I mean, how often have you heard that sort of thing? That is not supporting you in being your best. What most people do is they want to bring you down to their level. What I want to do is I want to help everybody rise to their highest possible potential. And I know just how extraordinary that is because I've seen it myself. I know what people are capable of. Okay, I know what you're capable of. And I'm asking you right now to be honest with yourself. Are you currently creating the life that you want to create? Are you maximizing your potential? Are you manifesting everything you're capable of? Or are you getting through, getting by, living day to day, making enough to make your payments and working in something you don't enjoy? That is far too often. I know for some of you that's not the case, and that's fantastic. But I know for many of you, it may still be the case. Okay, we don't have to create that. Imagine living on a large piece of land in a place where the climate is spectacular. Almost every day is shorts and flip-flops. Okay, where it's and even when it's raining, it's usually warm out. And we appreciate the rain because it means that all the fruit grows even faster. Okay, imagine living in a place with stunning natural beauty. I don't know about you. I've always been drawn to water. I think most of us are. We've got 2 rivers that run through the community where we're going to be building the community, including some little falls. We've got the highest waterfall in Central America. So the river crosses a road, and we'll have to build a bridge there. And then we have our nature preserve. Nature preserve will eventually, hopefully, if we can raise the money, when we raise the money, not if, when, the plan is for the nature preserve. I'll share with you what I'm planning, okay, what our goals are. So the nature preserve will encompass at least 2,000 acres, at least 800 hectares, 700 hectares. Eventually, it could be 2,000 hectares, 5,000 acres. Okay, that's the goal. The goal is to protect an entire valley, the entire valley. Within that valley, we've got about 16 waterfalls. And I say about because, frankly, no one's counted them. We don't know exactly how many there are, but it's 15 or 16, I believe, that we know of. There may be others we haven't even seen yet. I mean, we've got contracts to buy land from people who've never even walked the entire land themselves. Okay, they don't even know exactly what they have, but it's spectacular. I've walked much of the land. I haven't been stepped foot on every single meter of all this land. It's a lot of walking, but I've seen a lot of it. It's spectacular. Okay, so we've got this nature preserve, and across the road, on a large piece of land, the community. And the community, what that means is, there's a spectrum of communities from, on the one side, you have the commune, the kibbutz, where everything is shared. It's really a communist principle. Everybody gets what they need. At the other end of the spectrum, you have what's called co-housing. And in a co-housing started in Scandinavia. There are many projects in Denmark, in Sweden. I'm not so sure about Norway, perhaps there as well, in Holland. And these are projects where everybody owns their own home. Everybody has their own work. In most cases, in these communities, people, and often they're close to cities or even in cities, and people leave the site, and they go to work. Our project is more like a co-housing project. You'll have your own lot. You'll build your own home, or if you'd like, we can build it for you. Okay, we know plenty of builders here. We've done a lot of building here on site. We've gone here from having capacity for 5 guests when I got here 7 years ago to now having capacity for 44 guests, plus a campground. Okay, so we've done a lot of construction here, and we're going to be building more. We can do it for you. You can build your own. The requirements are that we don't have the specific requirements written up yet, but the idea is to create something that's environmentally sound. I had clients once, a couple who had no children, who lived in a house that was 8,000 square feet. That's 800 square meters for 2 people. I actually said to him once when she wasn't there, I said, "Do you hate each other? Like, why would you possibly need so much space?" Needless to say, that's not environmentally sound. Imagine if everyone on the planet wanted to have 4,000 square feet for themselves. You can see most of my apartment here. This is my living room. I've got a little patio here, bathroom here. There's a kitchen on the patio here, and that's my bedroom through that door. And it's a small space, but it's all I need. Okay, the idea is to build houses that are no larger than we need them to be, with natural materials, including wood. Concrete is a natural material. The problem with the building with concrete is if it has to be hauled a long way, it becomes environmentally not very sound. But concrete, lime is mined about 10 miles from here. And so the concrete blocks and cement are made locally and are natural materials that we can work with, as well as with wood. Wood is obviously abundant here. We're in the forest. We can buy plantation grown teak and other hardwoods. We'll be needing to harvest some woods. I mean, there are trees that fall. We're not going to, in Costa Rica, trees are protected. So we couldn't cut down large trees without a permit if we wanted to. We don't want to. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to be building around the trees, not taking things down. But there are some that come down anyway, right? Some of smaller trees. We do actually have some teak on site that we'll be harvesting when the time comes. In any case, you'll have your own home on your own land. You can plant whatever you want, but within the community, as a community, we will plant as many fruit trees as we can. As I mentioned, the community has a river coming through it. There's another river on the other side, but there's a river that comes right through the center. And the land along the river will be communal land. No one will have a lot right on the river. That's so that everyone can share that land. That will be like park land, wild land. Most of it will be wild. It will probably tame a little bit of it. There'll be a community structure where we'll meet as a group. We'll have the ability to have dinners together, fruit luck dinners, potluck dinners, a movie, a yoga class, a lecture, any kind of meeting we choose. In that community space, there'll be enough space for the entire community to meet. Now, the entire community eventually could number over 200 people. Initially, that's 100 lots, around 100 lots. It might be a few more. Initially, we're going to be limiting it to about 20 lots. And I say about because I don't know yet. On Tuesday, I have another meeting with the architect and engineer. We have a team of guys, and we're working on developing a site plan. As soon as we have that site plan approved, we can actually begin delivering title to those of you who have already bought a lot, or those of you who are about ready to. Okay. In the meantime, what you'll get is a promissory note. When you make the investment, you'll get a promissory note that says you'll be getting a lot on this land, of a minimum of certain size, because we don't know yet exactly what they'll be on this particular land. How much per lot in US dollars? So the lots are going to run $50,000 US dollars. Okay, that's for the lot. And then, of course, what you build is up to you. Now, it doesn't cost much to build here. The architect has estimated that for a typical simple house, we're looking at about $35 a square foot here. Excuse me, square meter. No, that's got to be square foot. I'll have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure it was $35. Let's see, I think I might have that right here in front of me. Give me 1 second. No, unfortunately, construction cost, general cost per square meter, $35 per meter. That seems ridiculously low to me, but maybe that's accurate. So let's see if the average home is, let's say most people are going to want to build something relatively small, depending on how many people you have. If it's a family of 5, it's obviously different than if you're single. This apartment, I think, is somewhere in the order of 350, 400 square feet. So that's about 40 meters times 35 is 1,400. No, that's not right. Yeah, I think there's a mistake there. So I'm not going to quote you on the price on the construction, but I mean, we've estimated that most people can build for anywhere from $35,000 up to perhaps as much as $100,000. I have someone who wants to come who has 4 children. And so, that's obviously going to require a larger structure than if you're single. Okay. But for most people, between $35,000 and $100,000 to build something that's simple, beautiful, comfortable, simple, not so large. Here, much of our space is outdoor space. If you've seen the videos that I record when I'm giving lectures to our groups here, that space, that's a giant covered patio. It's open on 2 sides. We're shooting in the direction that we're shooting in because there's a solid wall behind me. In 2 directions, it's hard to shoot because there's often too much ambient light, and so everything else is washed out because it's completely open on 2 sides. Okay, and so it's easy to live that way here. It doesn't cost much to build. You don't need insulation. You don't need heating or air conditioning. We don't have any here. You never need it. Okay, it rarely gets above 87 degrees. Sometimes, but not very often. I don't think it's ever been above 90. Fahrenheit. I apologize. I don't remember exactly what that is in Celsius. It's going to be maybe 32, something like that. Rarely gets above that temperature. So it's it's beautiful weather most of the time. We do have a rainy season where there's a lot of rain. Well, I mean, most of the rainy season it rains an hour or two, and then we have a month or 6 weeks where it rains a lot more than that. But that's a relatively short period of the year, and again, it's warm even then. We have a dry season where it's beautiful blue skies. It gets warm by the end of the dry season. That's our warmest month is April because it hasn't rained. There have been no clouds for 4 months, and so it gets a tiny bit hotter each of those months. But again, generally speaking, it's beautiful. Some of you already know this. We have 135 varieties of fruit growing on site here, with about 35 more coming in the next week or so. And on this site in the community, we're going to plant everything we can. Now, we're probably not going to try to plant every variety. What we're going to do instead, we're going to plant enough of the varieties that we all want, that we're actually going to be eating a lot of, so we have ample fruit. So we'll plant various different kinds of mangoes. So we'll have a 5-month mango season, and we'll plant avocados so everyone has avocados. And of course, again, on your lot, you can plant whatever you want. But this is what we're planting as a community. And this will be community property. So most of the community, it's not like a subdivision where you have your lot and then there are streets and maybe there's a little park or a school. Most of the land is communal land. The lots are going to represent probably less than 50% of the total land space. So most of the land that we have is communal land. And that's what's necessary for an intentional community to work. Where you take a piece of land and cut it up into lots, everyone spends all their time on that's all the land. Everyone's going to be spending all their time working on their land. What we want to do is actually share most of it. So in the communal structure, which I started to talk about earlier, we're going to have enough space for everyone to gather. There'll be a laundry center. There'll be an internet center. There'll be no Wi-Fi. There'll be a place where you can plug in. And maybe we'll have, maybe we'll start with half a dozen stations, and later on we'll add more. Some of us, because I work online most of the time, I will have internet in my home. You may or may not want to. If you don't want to, you don't have to. If you don't, you may need to wait to get online. But there you are hanging out in the communal space, and that's the idea, to foster community, right? To bring people together. There'll be a tool center. There'll be a meditation space. We'll have facilities for children, a playground, that sort of thing. The idea is really to create everything that we could want, but simply. And I don't mean, I've seen other communities. I had a group of friends, mostly from the UK, 25 years ago, who went to Spain, bought a piece of land there. They didn't really have any money. They lived in shacks and tents. And after a couple of years, everyone got sort of tired of living that way and wound up moving back to England and getting jobs. And that's really been the biggest issue with most of these communities. There may be people here, there are people here that own a home in North America or Europe and can sell that and will never have to work because they've got way more equity than they need to buy into the project, build something, and live on for the rest of their life. We also have people here that maybe don't have anything. Maybe you're 25 years old, 20 years old, and you don't have equity yet. Okay, you don't have a home, you don't have a bunch of assets yet. So although you're going to have to figure out how to get into the community, I'm going to share how to do that in just a minute, some possibilities with you. One of the cool things about this project is that we're going to make it possible for anybody who wants to create an income to be able to do that. And how we're going to do that is we're going to create a significant tourist attraction. Okay, by attracting tourists to the site, we're not going to have any trouble, right, creating, if we have enough people coming onto the site on a consistent basis, it'll be easy to create businesses that cater to tourists. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, we've got the nature preserve. As I said before, we have the highest waterfall in Costa Rica. They claim the highest in Central America. There's a slightly smaller one, 25 meters smaller, that starts 75 meters away, and they meet at the bottom. It's spectacular. And then we have like 13, 14 more waterfalls. Okay, now tourism is Costa Rica's #1 industry. 25% of adults in Costa Rica work in tourism. Okay, so most tourists coming to Costa Rica are coming for the natural beauty. They're coming to see nature. They're not coming to see cities. People don't come here to go to San Jose. People come here to see the waterfalls and the beaches and the nature preserves. And there's lots of nature preserves, but there's only one that has the highest waterfall. And I don't know of any that has so many waterfalls. Okay, that's why it's Las Cascadas, the Cascades. If those of you that have been here, whether it's to this site with me, we've got somebody here that spent 7 months with me at my location in Panama. There are people here that fast with me in the US. Okay, wherever you've been, if you've ever been to one of my properties, a place that I owned and had been for a while, it was beautiful. And it was beautiful because I won't live in a place that's not beautiful, because we can create beauty. We can manifest anything we choose to. Why would we not want to be in beautiful surroundings? I've visited people in places and I thought, why would anybody live here? Why would they do that? Or at least if they're going to live here, why wouldn't they use everything they can to create beauty? Some people don't think it's important to them, but it's important to all of us because we all feel better in those environments. And so if you've been here, you know that Tanglewood is a very beautiful place. And in the nature preserve, I mean, the idea with a preserve is to leave it alone as much as possible, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to create beautiful pathways, trails, some wooden boardwalks around the falls themselves. We'll create better access, at least around the main falls, the two highest ones, so that tourists can get there and see them. Right now, in order to see some of the falls, you have to grab onto a rope or a hose and pull your, I mean, use your feet to walk up, but some people won't do that. I brought people there that wouldn't go up. It's not that hard. But there's some people that aren't in good enough shape or have some physical disability where they can't do it. We're going to make it possible for everyone to be able to see these spectacular falls and the amazing nature around them. And we're going to make it comfortable for them. So there'll be bathrooms, there'll be refreshments. Of course, everything that we're offering will be organic, raw vegan, everything. Again, a model for what's possible. Okay. Now, if you are here and you're not raw vegan, this intentional community I'm talking about is 100% raw vegan. There'll be no cooking within the community. No, you cannot have a stove. You can't have a grill. Okay, no cooking over a campfire, right? No microwaves, no cooking, period. And it's not for people that don't want to live that way. If you're here and you aren't ready to be 100% raw, we are going to create a second community where it will be vegan. Okay, everything else will apply. The idea is to be as environmentally sound as possible, but it'll be a place where people can still cook if that's what they choose to. Okay, so we're going to draw people with this nature preserve. It will be spectacular. The land is already spectacular. We just need to create access. So again, with this meeting, we're looking at the cost to build a road and all the engineering costs and development costs, all that. We'll get started on as much of that as we can as soon as we're able to. But the first piece is to lay it all out. And hopefully the next time we do this, I'll actually be able to show you renderings. Here's the project. You'll be able to see it. Eventually we'll have a 3D model. You'll actually be able to see everything. Okay, so we'll have the nature preserve. Spectacular. There'll be a permaculture-based organic fruit farm. We currently have 3 pieces of land that are contiguous. They go up to a ridge and then down the other side. Some of the land's pretty steep, but we've got about 135 acres in total. That's 54 hectares roughly, something like that. It's mostly pasture. There's some trees, but it's no forest to speak of. And so it's mostly pasture, and that means we've got space there to plant perhaps 40,000 fruiting trees. Can you imagine? Right? And the goal there is to create the largest collection of tropical fruit species on the planet. Okay, that's our goal. Now, we may or may not succeed, but you know what? if we only have the third or fourth biggest collection on the planet, do you think people are going to want to come see that? Because I do. I think most tourists to Costa Rica are going to want to see that. And remember, that's just above this nature preserve where we have the highest waterfall in Costa Rica. Now we've got two amazing attractions, right? And with the permaculture-based farm, there'll be a 3-hour tour, a 4-hour tour, a full day tour, maybe a 2 or 3 day program, a tour, where you're able to see everything and actually taste whatever is in season at the time. There might be a place, we have this ridge that overlooks everything. There might be a place to stay up there. Okay. Botanical garden. People that come here frequently say, oh my God, this is like a botanical garden. And it's true. My staff laughs at me because whenever I go out, if I run across plants that we don't already have, if I see like on a stand side the road or something, someone's selling plants and they have something we don't have, I buy some. Okay, and we plant them. And so this is like a botanical garden. It's spectacularly beautiful, our gardens here. But it's not open to the public. It can't be because we're fasting people. We have a different purpose here. But we have a piece of land which is about 7 hectares, about 17 acres. It's way up high. The second highest peak in this area, we have 2/3 of that mountain. We don't have the very top of it. We have 2/3 of the mountain is within our nature preserve. And across the valley, we have this piece of land, the 7 hectares, 17 acres. It's almost as high as the top of the mountain across the way. It's not quite as high. It's pretty high. We're on a big peninsula here. From this land, you can see the water on 3 sides, like 50 miles to the ocean to the south. You can see it through the mountain peaks. Spectacularly beautiful. Views over everything with mountain peaks everywhere. I mean, this is a beautiful region of a beautiful country. And we're going to create a world-class botanical garden in that space. Okay, I mean, we're going to do this because it's something I want to do. But I believe it will draw more tourists. I believe that people are going to say, well, look at this. We've got the highest waterfall. We've got all these fruit trees we've never seen anywhere else, all in one place. We can try all these amazing things. And we have this and I'm talking world-class. The goal is to create something that's truly world-class botanical garden. In the center of that, somewhere within that space, there'll be a little boutique hotel with 2nd floor rooms. They've got privacy. They've got a balcony with the solid rail overlooking the gardens and the valley beyond to the oceans on 3 sides. Okay, can you imagine? Now, tourists come in, they park, they get out of their cars, they go and they buy their ticket for whichever attraction they're going to, and they get picked up in this one area, this one central area. In that area, we will develop a little commercial village. It will start with 1 building, but eventually it will grow. As tourism grows, we will build more and more. Now, I believe that in 10 years, we've conservatively looked at the numbers and looked at the competition, looked at where people are going now. And I believe that in 10 years' time, we can be among the top 5, at the most top 10 tourist attractions in Costa Rica. There will be nothing like this anywhere in the world. Okay, I don't think it's going to be difficult. Again, imagine highest waterfall, this the most spectacular botanical garden in the country, the largest collection of fruit trees, all these waterfalls. Now there's more. Okay, a lot of people come to Costa Rica who aren't, maybe they're coming not for the natural beauty, but because they want to surf or they're involved in adventure sports, right? Adventurous activities. So we're going to create zip lines here, canopy tour. There'll be rock climbing. We'll have a climbing wall, a bouldering wall. We have cliffs inside the valley. We'll be climbing. There'll be a mountain bike park at one end of the valley, the other end of the valley. We'll have BMX biking. We'll have a high adventure park, a ropes course, where you go from one platform to the next, up in the trees, up on platforms. Cool stuff. Okay, there'll be a little trampoline park. There'll be all kinds of cool things happening. We might have a skate park. But imagine something that's really beautiful with water and nature. I mean, mostly they're like just big hunks of concrete. And I understand that's what they need. But what if we actually made it beautiful at the same time? made it a place that people actually wanted to hang out. Okay, that's the idea. There's so many things I'm probably forgetting right now, but imagine as this thing, we believe that with all these attractions, we're going to be able to create a lot of people. Now, the thing is, if it sounds like it's a lot of development, I want you to understand we're talking about a lot of land. Again, thousands of hectares, thousands of acres. An acre is about a hectare is about 2.5 acres for the Americans here. So, if we're talking 2,000 or 3,000 acres or 5,000 acres, we're talking about, let's say 2,000 hectares, 5,000 acres for the whole project. We're talking about developing a tiny percentage of that land. Most of the land will be protected forever. In fact, with the exception of the community, where we set up a community association, it's called a green condominium here in Costa Rica, that owns the land, and then you own your lot, and you have a percentage of ownership in the association. With the exception of the community, all the rest of the land will be owned by a foundation, a nonprofit, to protect it. There'll be operating businesses that run the individual businesses, but a foundation will actually own the underlying land, and that's to protect it. I had a dear friend who is an entrepreneur who's doing something to help children in Australia. He's got a nonprofit there. But he said, you should own the land. You should own land because that's a huge asset, and that will make you rich. And I said, thank you. I appreciate your concern, but that's not my concern. My concern is to create something that's actually good for everyone, good for the planet. Okay, it's not personal wealth. And don't get me wrong. I mean, in 23 years running Tanglewood, I've never taken a salary. So I drive an old car, and I don't own much of anything. And Tanglewood pays my expenses. And that's fine. But I'll be 60 on my next birthday. And there will come a time where I may not want to have to work 18 hours a day, 16 hours a day, as I do now. And so I will have, or I've been developing this. I've invested all of my own assets into it. I have nothing else to invest now, but I put a lot of time into this project over the years. I will benefit from it personally. Okay, you should know that. It's not a secret. I'm not hiding anything. But it's not about making myself rich. It's about doing something that's going to benefit everyone. And the cost of the lots is for many reasons. First of all, as I said before, most of the projects that I've looked at, they don't really have much money. So maybe you can buy a piece of land for $10,000 or $20,000, but that's really all there is. What we're going to do here is we're going to create a beautiful communal space. Okay, the community members, so we'll have access to all kinds of benefits because they're part of a community. Community members will have access to the nature preserve, which everyone else will pay to enter. So you've got this giant, amazing playground across the street. Okay, and I mean, we're talking about a big piece of land. So when I say across the street, it's far enough away it doesn't have to affect you. But there'll be eventually, as the whole project develops, there'll be a little commercial village. Think, for some of you can understand this, think ski village, like a beautiful little place up in the mountains, gardens and fountains and beautiful little buildings, no more than say 2 stories high, where there'll be shops, boutiques, art galleries. Eventually we'll create a space for performances, an amphitheater. There'll be a bookstore. There'll be eateries, of course, and again, everything organic, raw, vegan. Now, I want to be clear about something, okay? I am looking for the right person eventually to take over running Tanglewood. I'll still be involved, but I won't be running it every day. Right now, not only do I see all the clients myself and take that responsibility on to guide them through their fasts, but I also manage the staff. And it's a lot of work. I'm wearing several hats. I'm looking to replace myself with 2 or 3 people here. And I will not be running any of these businesses. I'll be overseeing the whole project. But as a community member, you'll have the ability to run either one of the big businesses that I'm talking about that will be owned by the partnership that puts together all the money, because this entire project will take quite a bit of capital. okay, on the order of $20 million before we're finished. Costa Rica is not cheap, but to buy all the land, develop what we're going to develop. I mean, just think about planting trees. Imagine planting 40,000 trees, okay, 50,000 trees, plus doing the development there. There's land. I mean, with permaculture, we're going to create swales. We're going to have to create some roads. There's going to be some buildings. And we're talking about investing at least $500,000 into that fruit farm. And so that fruit farm, by the way, will sell fruit. And community members will have a discount. But remember, that's over here. And over here, as part of the community, we're already planting all the trees we want as a community. We won't have everything. But if you cross the street, there'll be an organic market where you can buy everything. Like everything you can imagine that could grow here will be selling in that time of year at that market. Okay, so some of the big businesses, I mean, like the Nature Preserve and the Botanical Garden and these things, these will be run by this partnership that all the investors have put up the money for the big project. If you're buying a lot, that you won't personally be involved as an owner in the partnership. However, the community association will have a probably 1% ownership in that overall umbrella corporation. And that means as the entire project prospers, the community prospers as well. Okay? But better than that, I think, is that we're creating something where we believe in 10 years there could be 500,000 annual visitors. So if you're running a little shop or a little juice bar, or let's say you want to do some sort of coaching or offer massages or teach yoga classes, or whatever it might be, we have somebody that has a unique style of dance, which he has created himself. And he wants to have a dance studio. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, how difficult do you think it will be to attract people when you've got 500,000 visitors a year? Okay, and again, the idea is to create something, there's a lot more to share with you, where these aren't just daily visitors. There'll be people who come for the day. There'll be people who go, wow, I'd like to spend a whole day in the nature preserve, and maybe a day on the permaculture, and then another day at the botanical garden. And maybe in the afternoons when we finish with that thing, we'll go to a zip line or we'll go ride mountain bikes or whatever we'll do. There'll be people who spend 3 days, 5 days a week. I mean, frankly, I can't imagine a raw vegan not wanting to take at least a week every year at Las Cascadas. Where else can you go where there'll be thousands of different varieties of fruit, where you'll have all the things that you could want as a raw vegan are there in paradise. It's a spectacular climate, and everything's there for you. Okay, and if you still want to eat some more gourmet stuff, there'll be restaurants that will cater to tourists. Some of them, I have someone who wants to run this already, but there'll be a chocolate shop. I have a friend in the UK who has some of the best raw vegan chocolate I've ever had. He's willing to license his products to us. He'll come and teach someone how to make them, and then we'll put his label on them. He'll get a percentage, right? That's one possibility. We'll have a chocolate shop, a whole shop, raw vegan chocolate. How about an ice cream shop with every day 20 different flavors of fruit? It's just fruit, right? Bananas and some other fruit ice creams. You think that'd be successful? Because I think it'd be very successful. Okay, a juice bar, a place to go play games. Again, galleries, art galleries, boutiques, anything. Imagine again everything organic. So you want to run a boutique? Some of you know this about me. Pretty much everything I own is organic materials. Okay, organic cotton, hemp, bamboo. There are many different possibilities. Linen. Okay, so you want to run a boutique? Great, everything organic. Okay, everything we do as environmentally soundly done as possible. Okay, an artist in residence program, be part of it. Cool stuff happening there. Performances, I mentioned, the amphitheater. A retreat center. So here we have a retreat center. When we're not running fast here, we're open for running other retreats. By the way, if you've got a group and you want to bring a retreat, we've got space here. It's spectacular. But imagine a retreat center as part of this project where there could be 3, 4, 5 different events happening at the same time. And what's cool about it is we'll have the teaching spaces in one area, maybe with a place to eat. So that we'll serve lunch to retreat attendees. We'll have all kinds of simple, very simple options, and maybe some slightly more elaborated options for those who want that. And then breakfast and dinner they do on their own, and they stay where they choose to. So if someone's on a budget, they can stay in a tent at a campground on site. And if someone has no budgetary limitations and they want luxury, they can stay in a very high-end villa, environmentally sound villa, a beautiful small space built in a sound way, but that's spectacularly beautiful with amazing care, right? They're being attended to. They've got privacy and quiet in this beautiful space. So a lot of people can enjoy the same program because they'll pay for the education and they'll pay separately for their accommodations, and we'll offer a whole range of options. And again, each of these businesses, these are things that you could run if you want to, if you're looking for that. Okay, so how do you get involved? And there's so much more. I mean, there's so much more. You can probably think of many things, and I'm sorry, we could do this for hours, but I'm going to have to go soon. So I want to share with you a couple of options. As I said, lots are 50,000 US. If you're in a position to pay in full now, that would be helpful to us because we need to raise capital to keep the thing moving. Now, frankly, up until now, I've supported all this project. We've got 17, 18 farms under contract. We've closed on one. I've made deposits on a lot of them already, put a significant amount of money up. And that's all happened from what Tanglewood earns. As I said, I don't pay myself, but it's all going into this project. Okay, whatever's left over after we pay off everything here. Now, of course, with this whole thing happening around the world, the borders have been closed now for several months. They're supposed to open again in 2.5 weeks or so on the 1st of August. We'll see what happens. We may still have some limitations to how many people we can bring. We may not be in a position to support this the same way we could before, at least not with what we're doing now. We have some other things coming. We're going to be, I'm doing more work online now. And we're actually increasing our offerings so we can no longer need to depend on the government keeping the borders open. If that happens, we'll still be able to be okay. And I promise you, we're not going anywhere. But in order to move things forward as quickly as possible, we need people to get involved. We want people to say, I love, if this resonates with you, if you're passionate about this, if you think this is amazing, and by the way, if you think this is amazing, if you haven't already given it a thumbs up, maybe you can. Maybe you can share this video once we're done. There'll be a link you can share. Please do. But the most important thing is to actually go ahead and invest in what you believe in. If you think this is important, if you think this could be amazing, please get involved, and get involved as soon as you can. I realize not everyone's able to, but if you're able to, I'm going to give you several options, and we've increased the number of options. So the first one is, if you're in a position to do this, and some of you have already done this, you can write a check, make a transfer. Not checks actually don't work here so well, but you can do an international transfer for $40,000. And that means you get 20% off. It's a 20% discount. And you pay in full now. And as soon as we can deliver title to you, you'll have, in the order that those lots are committed to, that's the order you get to choose yours. Okay? Some people may choose to be a little higher, maybe have to walk a little further, because we're going to have roads to connect everything, but all the parking is going to be outside. So where we're living, there's no sound of cars, there's no pollution, no exhaust from cars. There will be electric vehicles, there could be golf carts, but the idea is really only when necessary. Now, there may be some people who need that to get around. And of course, if you're moving furniture, there'll be the ability to drive in a pickup truck or something. To build, we'll obviously need to be able to get vehicles in. But the idea, day-to-day basis, once everything's done, there won't be driving in the community. So you may want to choose to be a little closer to parking. There may be more than one parking option. We're still working on all of that, right? The idea is to make it work as well as possible. But you understand. So there's an option, pay in full now. Right? And if you're interested in this, please email me. I can see there's lots of comments here. I can't speak and read very well at the same time. My brain is limited that way. I like to think I'm good at many things, but that's not one of them. So I'm probably not going to get a chance to read all the comments until later. And I may not get a chance to read all the comments because I'm super busy. So if you're interested in any of these options, okay, and moving forward with us in one way or the other, then you're going to want to send me an email. And probably the best way would be to send that to info@tanglewoodwellnesscenter.com. I'll see that, but I'll also have some support people that see that. And that means they'll make sure that I see it. If you send it to me personally, it's more likely to get missed. Okay, so send it to info@tanglewoodwellnesscenter.com. So that's one option. The second option is, if you're not in a position to pay up front the whole thing, you can pay $10,000 now. Okay, I'll turn my light on here so I don't misspeak. You can pay $10,000 now, and you can pay $8,000 a year for the next 5 years. Okay, so there's no discount. You're paying $50,000 that way, but you're spreading it out over time. And for $10,000, you still get to choose your lot. You're committed. You're in there. You don't have to worry about not getting one. You've got yours. Okay, well, you're making a commitment, and we're committing to you back. Okay, again, promissory note up front. This is something which is going to be notarized by a local lawyer, guarantees you that you get your lot. It's just we can't actually give you title yet because we don't have a lot plan that's been approved. We don't have title to give you. Okay, we have to subdivide it. Before we can do that, we have to get approval by the government. That's going to take a while. So in order to move forward, we need you to get involved now, and we're offering you this big discount for doing that. Okay? So second option, pay $10,000 up front, pay $8,000 per year over the next 5 years. Okay, so you'll have up to 5 years more to pay off the balance. $8,000 a year. You can do that monthly. You can do it in a couple large payments. That's up to you. But it's $8,000 per year. The third option is you can pay $5,000 now, and you would pay $800 per month. Okay, now if you do the math on that, you wind up paying a little more than $50,000 because, and it's not very much more, but we're basically carrying you. It's more like a normal loan, monthly payments, okay, with less upfront, and you're going to pay a little bit of interest that way. It's not much, okay. And again, that's $5,000 upfront, $800 a month. And the third option, okay, and I had people saying, I can't do the $10,000. Can there be other options that make it possible for me to get involved, to commit now? Yes. Okay, so the $5,000 is one with $800 a month. Alternatively, you can pay as little as $2,500 upfront, $2,500 US dollars today, and pay $875 a month for 5 years. In each of these cases, 5 years. Okay, now again, you're paying a little bit more that way, but it's still not very much. And we're carrying, it's almost an interest-free loan. It's a ridiculously low rate of interest for doing this. We're trying to make it as easy as possible for you. Okay, I promise you, it's going to be an amazing project, an amazing community, and we're looking to create something where we can truly support each other. So if you want your own business, you'll have the opportunity. We can't hire you. You understand, you can't work here unless you have a work permit. But you can run your own show, and we can help you do that. And there's going to be so many more things. Just a quick rundown I haven't mentioned yet. I mean, again, you can see with the retreats, we've got people who are there on site for a week at a time. And what are they doing in their free time? They're looking for places to eat. They're looking for things to buy. They're looking for souvenirs. They're going to have some free time, and they're going to be able to go do zip lines, or go look at the nature preserve, or go look at the botanical gardens, right? And they're going to be spending money in your business as well. What else? Well, how about a raw vegan culinary institute? Okay, there's not many in the world. The best one that I know of, started by a dear friend of mine. It's in Northern California, and they do an amazing job. She no longer owns it. She sold it. She retired. She spends half her year here on the peninsula in Costa Rica, not too far from here, several hours south. But Northern California, where Living Light is located, it's a little chilly and damp much of the year. I mean, imagine if you could get an equivalent education in paradise in Costa Rica, where there were thousands of varieties of fruit available. Which would you choose? To me, it'd be simple. Okay. There'll also be a massage school. You want to become a massage practitioner? There'll be a school to do that. There'll be a yoga teacher training school. Okay. And by the way, this can be your school. Again, I'm not going to run this. You want to run that? Perfect. Let me know. Let's start talking. Okay. You're going to have to make a commitment because there's going to be many people who are going to want to do this. But there's going to be tons of possibilities here for you. How about a school for doulas to help birth babies? How about a green building school, a full-time permaculture school? I'm a certified permaculture instructor, but I'm not going to run that school. You can do it, though. You don't even necessarily have to be a permaculture instructor. You just go find them and put it together. Okay, you can be the person that puts it all together. There's so many possibilities. Let me acknowledge some people who've made some donations. I'm going to have to jump off here in just a minute. Alex De Prato has made a 21.99 euro contribution and said, hello from France. I binge watched your videos and learned a lot. So here's my support. How do you change oily skin and blackheads faithfully? Okay, a little bit off topic today, but the answer is you clean up your diet, you fast to cleanse and heal your body. I had terrible acne when I was younger. My skin, I mean, I still get comments all the time from people who tell me how amazing my skin is. You probably can't tell with this connection, but my skin is still soft and supple. Jen, you're probably laughing at me. Jen, who's here with me now, oh, it's not that good. It's pretty nice. For an old guy. For a guy getting older, it's not too bad. Jose Gomez has made a $20 contribution and said, thanks, I'll evaluate my options, send you an email later. This highly resonates with me. That's fantastic, Jose. I'm really happy to hear that. We would be very happy to talk with you about joining our project. There's going to be, I mean, again, the question is, are you committed to your own health and vitality? Are you committed to living gently on the planet? Are you willing to be in community with others? And again, this isn't a commune. You have your own lot, you have your own home, you live your own life. We encourage people, in order for these communities to work, the research is really clear. They work where people are getting together on a regular basis, at least a couple times a week for a community function. So that means you still have most of your life to yourself. If you want it that way, I tend to be a bit of a loner. I'm definitely an introvert. I like my private space and time, but I love getting together with people I care about. And what we're trying to create here is a tribe, okay? I love my family, but I don't want to live with most of them, okay? I want to create my own family. I want to create a tribe of people that I love and take care of and look after, okay, and support in every way possible, and have my own space too. And that's what we're talking about here. So Jose, Alexis, if you guys are interested in this, fantastic. We'd love to have you. Hero has made another $2 Canadian donation, said you should consider accepting Bitcoin as a payment method. Well, we could look into that possibility. I don't know if that's going to help us right now, but perhaps. Alternatively, if you've got Bitcoin and want to turn it into dollars, you can do that and use those dollars to jump in now. So I wish I could read all the comments right now. I don't know if there's any other questions. I'm sure there probably are. I apologize, I don't have time to get to them. I've just given you sort of a basic, there's so much more. Imagine a spa, imagine an athletic center, imagine, the possibility of places to do art and learn how to do art and music, everything that's good for the human soul and spirit. This is what we want to support, okay? This is going to be a beautiful, amazing place created and run by people who care about themselves, first of all, because that's critically important, okay, and everybody else, and who want to create something amazing for the planet. And that's what we have in mind here. And we would love for you to be part of this. Again, info@tanglewoodwellnesscenter.com. If you want to get involved, please feel free to reach out. I'd love to be in touch with you. I'm a little bit crazy overwhelmed right now, but don't let that don't let that slow you down. Go ahead and send me a message. The sooner you send it, the sooner I'll get back to you. It may or may not be the same day right now, but I'm gonna get back to you as soon as I can. We'd love to have your involvement. I believe together we can truly create paradise. And we've got a really good place to do it right here. Okay? It's been a pleasure being with you today. I'll look forward to seeing you all again next time. Remember, I'm back at my usual time, 9 a.m. Friday morning in English. Again, doing a more typical live where I'll be answering your questions about health and vitality, et cetera, et cetera. 9 o'clock Friday morning, Costa Rica time. It's now 11:15, 11:17 Costa Rica time. So if you want to get a sense of the time difference. Okay? Take care. Great to be with you. Thank you for spending your time with me. I appreciate that, for allowing me to share with you my vision. I hope to see you here soon. Bye-bye.